when the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality. Open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the book club by DLC.
Hello there, book clubbers. Hope you're having a good week. Hope you're dancing. We got to dance. What else can we do but dance? I'm Jeff Kanata. I'm here with Lana Bashinsky. Hello, Lana.
Hello, good morning. Needed a little dancing in my life. It was a bit of a slow, snuggly morning here in Seattle. Beautiful rain, overcast, and a little dance to bring the vibes up. I'm feeling it. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. We're in the midst of our cozy sci-fi read through. We're on our third week of reading The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and we got some fun chapters to dig into this week. I think we're about 3/4 of the way through the book. One more episode should tie it up. Should be
Feels
fun.
like we are moving at light speed, as it were, through this book. Being like, oh, there's like one more week after this, and then we're done.
Boom.
Really cooking.
Should be fun. And hey, we like to start the show with a non-spoiler topic. In the best of times, these are sent in by you to dlcfeedback@gmail.com. Anything you'd like us to talk about at the beginning of the show, non-spoilery, whatever. Book related, not book related, fun topics. Send them in. We love getting topics from you. But this week, since we're talking about science fiction, we're talking about speculative fiction, we're talking about future, space travel, colonization of other planets, expanding beyond the limits of our pale blue dot. I thought it'd be fun to talk about, that idea. Lana, I want to know, if you had the opportunity, would you colonize Mars? Would you be a one of the first humans to settle? Supposing that it was safe-ish and relatively, known
quantities to some degree.
Yes, you're not the only person there. It's like a relatively normalized situation. Would you want to do that, or would you want to go out and explore the unknown?
I love this question. Well, at the baseline, I gotta say, when it comes to Earth and leaving it, I'm a very big believer in that. There's like one Earth that is accessible, and it is our responsibility as a people to make it sustainable and make it livable and make it a place that people want to be.
Yeah. You're more of a love the one you're with kind of.
Love the one you're with. But when it comes to like colonizing another planet for science and exploring for science, shoot me into the void. I am like, the first opportunity that I get to, within my means, in a normal way, in a known, safe way, go stare into the expanse myself. Oh, I'm on that rocket ship, baby.
Yeah?
Yes. I'm so thrilled by, people have gone to like quick space shots where they like shoot some people up just to the edge of the atmosphere, and then they come back down again. And even just getting to the edge of the atmosphere and looking out, people come back changed in their sense of value and responsibility to the earth, and like going out there and being like, there's nothing out there. They're like haunted by it in a way that I think new experiences, giving you new perspectives, traveling out of your city, out of your country to another place on Earth can change your life. I just love the idea of having a new perspective that would even harden some of the beliefs I already have in the beautiful ball of Earth. So
that's lovely. I love that.
I really like the idea of getting shot into space. I do. I'd want a little tour past Mars and be like, thanks for hanging. I'm going to be on the holodeck out just straight shot somewhere else where we think there's an M class. You know what I mean? So that's my vibe. What about you, Jeff Kanata?
Well, I think that sentiment is lovely. There's certainly a romance to the notion that, I mean, you described it so well, very romantically, of seeing the world from outside, stepping away from that, the seed of our humanity, and being able to look down on it and go, oh, wow, that is certainly an attractive idea to me.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've been doing a science podcast for a long time called We Have Concerns. You can find it at wehaveconcerns.com. An award-winning science podcast, I might add.
I've been listening.
And one of the refrains that we come back to again and again on my award-winning science podcast is space is trying to kill you.
Yes.
You know? Space wants you dead so bad. There's so many ways that space... People are like, oh, yeah, no, as long as I stay. No, like we've done so many episodes about these studies of like, if you're in space for a long time, all of a sudden your eyeballs don't hold together. Things, it's like your bone density, you just turn into a brittle little gingerbread man. It's, like there's so many ways in which space wants to kill you. And, I love science fiction, and I love the notion of rocketing through the stars and discovering strange new worlds and new civilizations. But I think the reality of it would be just a nonstop series of horrors.
Yeah, to be clear, when I'm like, hey, and it's sustainable, like it's safe and it's normal, I'm like, the holodeck exists, or I'm going up into space because the Stargate is there, and then it's a quick jaunt to another livable planet to explore.
Do I want to hang out with the folks on the Wayfarer? Definitely.
I do. Need to? I mean, even then, I'm like, do I need to go to the sublayer? And I'm like, yes, I do. Actually, I really do. Bring on the nausea, baby. I want to experience the chaos of existence in all its many forms. Yeah,
love it. Well, we're curious what you would do. Would you, if you given the opportunity, would you go colonize Mars? Would you set out even farther? Would you want to be on a one-way ticket to the unknown? That is a wild notion of just being on a one-way ticket.
Out. We're going out.
We're going to find it. We're going to find something or not. Yeah.
or not. Yeah,
I mean, because,
find each other.
Human beings, we think about this in the vastness of space, but, it wasn't too long ago in human history where people would just get on a sailing boat and go, I'm going to go that way.
There appears to be nothing.
We'll see. We'll see if we run into anything or we just die out there. But I'm so curious. I'm going to do it.
I hope we packed enough to not die.
Yeah. Do we know that we actually need citrus? Maybe not yet. Maybe we'll figure that out soon enough.
Anyway, get on board, Lieutenant Scurvy.
Let's go. Who's with me?
We're going to name something after you. I don't know what yet.
We may not find what we're actually looking for, but, who knows? Anyway, I do. That's an impressive trait for sure. And anyone, even horrible people.
Even people that kind of were like the seed of our own demise.
Anyway. I do want to hang out with the folks on the Wayfarer, though.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. We'll have spoilers starting now we're starting with what? Chapter 13. They are not numbered, so it's a little confusing for me, but this one is called The Last War. And we start with our little invertebrate buddy, Dr. Chef. I don't know if he's an invertebrate. Feels like he is. Little worm man. Dr. Chef, enjoying himself some tea. He's learned to love it. And he thinks about the differences in species. There's a lot of, I think, contemplation in these chapters about the various differences in species, these fictional species, of course. But I think it's a wonderful, science fiction does this, and it's so awesome when you get to invent something that's different from humans as a way to sort of reflect on humanity. Mm-hmm. I enjoy that.
Me too.
So Dr. Chef is reflecting about the human preoccupation with being happy. He's like, humans are the only creatures that have this expectation of being happy all the time. Nobody else, all the other species are like, I'm not going to be happy all the time. What are you, human?
I do also like that every different character seems to have some version of like therapy that they've been
Yes.
through, but it's like baked into their species of like, that is a healthy perspective. Humans shouldn't feel like they're supposed to be happy all the time, but we do.
Yes. I mean, I think if somebody asked me to describe this novel, having not finished it yet, but if anybody asked me to describe this novel, I'd be like, what if sometime in the far future, everybody was just kind of okay with them, everybody figured it out a little bit and we're all just sort of, it's an amazing speculative future where everybody is like well-adjusted,
Yeah. I spent like a long time last night actually trying to digest parts of the book, not because it's challenging to digest, but to try and like analyze my feelings of it. I'm not sure if it's something that I should talk about fresh or like I might save it until we have like end of book thoughts.
Okay.
Because it seems to continue on. But that is one of the things that I think is very, very curious about the way that this book is written, where almost in the same way, I wish I could have like teed up the first episode we did, almost in the same way that going into the Malazan books, I had to like reframe my perspective of it's going to be challenging and I'm here for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, destination. I almost feel like I have to do the same thing with this book for like what I'm expecting, just because of the loop of setup and payoff. Everything is like so tight. It is like a speculative book in that people are okay, but different people are okay, but they're also not okay. Everybody is flawed. They're dealing with serious, big, meaty flaws.
Yes.
But it's sort of like set up, spike, set up, spike, set up, spike.
Yeah. And they all have like a lovely support structure to deal with those flaws.
Yeah. Everybody. And I mean, we find in these chapters, there's like some people that they're not quite okay, not quite figured it out. And so let's chat about it. But I'm glad that this book is short so that we can get to the end and I can just kind of rattle through all my sort of deeper thoughts about the book.
Yeah. No, I agree. It is anathema to what I expect in a lot of ways, because so much of what I expect out of narrative and certainly, genre fiction is a creation of tension and then a holding of that tension for some dramatic purpose. And this book just eschews that completely. It creates a tiny bit of tension and then it diffuses it and then creates a new different thing and then diffuses that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's just structurally so different than anything I've ever read, I think.
Yeah. There's like the longest arc that we've seen that I thought might be like, oh, this is the arc that we hold through the end of the book, also got resolved.
Yes.
In these chapters. It's like, it's fascinating.
And in the most sort of anticlimactic way, in
a way that's like right for them.
It's lovely.
It is lovely. We'll get into it. If it is not the way typical. I would have expected. It's not typical. Yeah. It's not typical. Yeah.
Anyway, I think this first chapter that we're talking about today, The Last War, is a lovely one. I started, clipping out a section from this and I was like, oh, more. And I ended up like, oh, am I just clipping the entire chapter here?
Yeah.
Because this is I found this was really lovely and beautifully written. This very poignant backstory for Dr. Sheff, where, he talks about his species, the Grum, and this awful war that they got into, this awful sort of technological conflict that they got into, and the escalation of weapons of war, these new technologies that they came to continually, make war worse and more efficient,
more guaranteed death.
Yeah, and they invented these things called organ cutters, this awful bullet, I guess, that would not just shoot you but bore into your flesh and kind of just eat you out. Sorry. Eat you from the inside,
It would seek and consume your vital organs. Two children can't run a show like this.
Anyway, it sounds terrible. And he, when someone was afflicted with an organ cutter or had been, attacked by an organ cutter, The only option that they came to was to literally euthanize them. And he tells this very, I found to be, beautifully expressed and poignant, devastating story about, Dr. Chef, it comes from a species that their gender is fluid over time and they can mother children. And Dr. Chef has to euthanize his own child, his own daughter.
His last living daughter. Because all of at the time, her daughters had gone off and died in the war.
Yeah.
And something about needing to be the person to euthanize their own child, their last living child. It was like, the breaking point.
Awful. And kind of talking about it in this matter-of-fact way and saying, well, yeah, humans, they dwell on grief. And this is kind of what Rosemary expects me to say is, the grief, and using it as a way to sort of ease her pain, or, it's just wild.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we find out that the Grum themselves realized that they had gotten to a point that was so terrible that this war that they were waging on themselves, the technology of war that they'd come to was just so awful that we don't deserve to exist anymore. We will accept our own extinction with grace because we screwed it up. We messed up real bad and we don't deserve to be anymore.
Yeah. But the reason Rosemary is chatting with Dr. Chef about this is because she just revealed like who her father is and what he'd done and selling things. And she was not aware of that. And so it's like a sort of, she's not responsible for somebody else's actions in that way. And Dr. Chef's tale is that through the war, they hated the other Grum. They authentically hated them, especially because they started using the organ hunters, whatever they're called, the
organ cutters,
the organ cutters. They started using these things that Dr. Chef, trying to be a field medic, thought it was so despicable, so, I don't know the right sort of species neutral, inhumane, sort of treatment.
Ingrumane.
And then found out over the course of this that actually their side invented them first and had been using them. Yeah. And then this was actually revenge that they'd adapted the technology, figured out how to use it and started using it against them. And that realization of like, oh, it's actually the people that I have been working with and valuing and wanting to preserve their lives over these people that I hate are the people who started the thing that I thought was the most despicable thing in the war. Yeah. So it's just that lesson of like, what are you aware of? You're not responsible for that, but you are responsible for what you do to sort of today about that. And sort of reflecting that Rosemary made the choice to leave. So too did Yield Dr. Chef.
The Grum realizing that they were being killed off by these diseases that they created.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Which, again, prescient from 2014 novel. He also tells the story of how he sort of became who he is now, meeting this character named Drave, who was a family doctor on Port Coriol. And he gets inspired by the notion of a family doctor who, sees new generation grow up, cares for them, as they move through different stages of life, and gets really attached to that family and that progression over time. And he's inspired and wants to do that. So he makes a deal with this Drave character that he'll make soup. He'll provide soup, the delicious soup that this doctor likes, if he can come in and volunteer at the clinic. He works in that clinic for soup, and then meets Ashby, who comes in and recruits him to be on to the Wayfarer. And that's, sort of Dr. Chef's backstory, marrying this love of cooking with the love of taking care of people. I thought the whole chapter I thought was very lovely.
Very lovely. Very lovely.
Yeah.
And like you said, your book was written a ways ago.
Yeah.
So many things feel like it was written yesterday.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Rosemary, of course, relates, as you mentioned, to the warmongering, the war profiteering. Her father, of course, is doing that, has gone to jail now for that exact thing. And Dr. Chef says, all feelings are relative. He asks her, do you wonder how your father could have done that? The man he was, the man you knew him to be. And he has this beautiful, very Zen-like approach where he says, good and bad exist in all of us all the time. We all have the capacity for good and bad. And the universe is what we make it. And you, Rosemary, are trying to be someone good. So you do not feel the sins of the father reflect poorly on you because you are trying to do something good with your life.
I thought it was sweet. And it was like great sentiments for the moment. There's some amount to that I like, just as a person was like, but if anybody thinks they're doing good, but they're actually doing bad, there's like a sentiment here that I don't think wouldn't always hit with everything, but within the scene, loved it. Great characters. Everybody in the book is decent and nice so far.
Kind, decent.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so the next chapter is called Kedrum. This is a much longer chapter. We start with Kizzy, and she is, this clearly, again, I'm reading into some of the stuff as I did last week, these sort of analogs for real life things, but it seems pretty clear to me that Kizzy has PTSD from her experience with the attack. From the, what are they called? Acarax?
Yeah, the eventually very respectful Acarax.
Yeah, eventually very respectful. Yes. But she still, she can't sleep.
Yeah.
She never slept much as a kid. She remembers back where, she would just, sleep was a hard thing to come by because she had all these ideas and she didn't want to lose them. She had too many ideas in her head. And she knew that when she woke up the next morning, she wouldn't remember the ideas because she'd be distracted by pancakes. I was like, I relate to that, Kizzy.
My ideas are usually about pancakes, so.
Yeah. But she's clearly, experiencing some PTSD. She's jittery and scared and constantly reliving the moment of that attack and feeling unsafe on her ship now, wondering when the next moment that they will suffer another attack. And then, of course, Lovey, the AI, says, a ship is approaching. I want to tell you, Kizzy, a ship is approaching. You're the only one awake. And Kizzy's like, I knew it. Here's what it's happening all over again.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
But of course, it is not bad. It is. It's real good, actually. It's a distress signal. It's a distress signal. In fact, not an attack, not another Akarak attack. And it is a ship of Aeluans. They want to have an unscheduled docking, and they want to. Their ship is broken. They need repairs, and they're so lucky that someone heard their call. Guess who it is? Who could it possibly be?
Ashby's girlfriend, illegal girlfriend.
Private dancer. Yeah.
Yeah. I forget what her full name is, but she says it when she introduces herself. And, we get the look at the Aeluan through somebody else's eyes other than Ashby, who you're like, oh, he's in love. She's like, they're so beautiful. They've talked about how the Aeluans are, it's like just galactically attractive. But Kizzy immediately is like, whoa, look at this lady. What a babe. What and a babe. Then it is Pay. It is Ashby's girlfriend that Kizzy pretty irreverently is like, yo, just checking. You're like Pay though, like Ashby, like we like know you, but don't like know you. Do you know what I mean? And she's like, yes. Can you please like keep it quiet? Just like
Ixnay on the Ockingtay.
We all know that my crew can't know about stuff like this, so can you just keep it together? And she's like, yeah. I got it. I'm gonna go really cool, real cash. Wake everybody up. We'll see you in an hour, girl. And then sure enough, she goes and wakes up everybody on the ship first before Ashby. The moments of this cruise, like the way they kind of razz each other or get on each other's nerves, there's like a real groundedness and a real delight to their interactions. And I'm like, if I got that intel and my bud/boss was like that, I would do the exact same thing. There's like really well written character moments like this throughout. But it's also I liked this scene because she's talking about how she has these big ideas, but she will forget them immediately. And like, she does come back around and eventually talk about her fears. But even in the moment, she's like, oh, there's a ship. Oh my God, it's going to be it. Oh, what's up? It's pay. Woo! And like her brain is immediately elsewhere, which is like a sort of a nice immediate reflection of the thing she was just thinking about.
Yeah. I take notes during my read so that we can step through the moments. And I wrote down, it's a distress signal. Turns out awesome for everybody. Awesome for everybody. So everybody is pretty excited about the Elewans being on the ship. Chief among them, Ashby, whose POV we immediately jump into. He's quickly taking a shower, trying to get ready, super excited that his girlfriend's here unannounced. And they come out to greet them, and he's trying to keep it together and not let on that they're, little something. And I love the moment where Sizzix, the species that's all about affection and touching, is like draped all over him. And he's like, not right now. It's not the time in front of my girlfriend to be all lovey-dovey on the old captain's arm.
We do all know that this is like your thing. And we do all know that it's meaningless. But do everybody know? So like maybe just chill.
I appreciate it. But you look like you're my girl, and that's my actual girl.
I do love the idea of like, you're this ship, you sent out a distress beacon because your ship is damaged. You're like in real trouble. Your ship is damaged in space, like you're saying. Space want to be killing you.
Yeah.
And then showing up and docking, and just knowing that probably everybody on the other side is like, welcome.
Hi.
It's so good to meet you. For the first time, never known or thought of you before.
Oh, hello there, kind sir.
Exactly. And then everybody just like watching Ashby and her shake hands, being like, good handshake. Pretty nice.
Fun scene. Cool little tidbits too that, Lovey's like, oh, it's one of those things where like there's this hints of tension and then diffused right away, where it's like, ooh, I don't see any. You said they were going to be these awesome commandos, the Eloan commandos. She's like, all I see are civilian patches. He's like, oh yeah, they're undercover. Don't worry, they're my friends. They're cool. Let them on. I was like, no problems. Nothing to stress about.
And yet them being like, oh, they're probably undercover. And everybody's like, there is that tension. And as a reader, I'm like, ooh, what does that mean? Is this intentional? Is there something the Wayfarer is like, they're going into this war zone. We don't know that much about the Elewans. Maybe they're trying to get something. But everybody's like, cool, undercover, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the whole time that they show up, you're like, wondering I'm wondering if there's going to be sabotage. We get to whatever happens later in this book, but it's like, are they going to try and get the Wayfarer? But it's like, everybody just kind of has a pretty good time.
It's awesome for everybody.
Awesome for everybody.
Yeah. Pei comes on. She and Ashby find a little nook to talk in private. And she says, hey, I saw some scarring on the hull. Did you guys get attacked? He's like, yeah, we got attacked. Everybody, and I got punched in the face. She's like, punched in the face?
I thought you said you were safe.
Yeah, I don't want to worry about you. And she says, now I'm worried. You're heading into Toremi space. You're on this long journey to a small angry planet. She says, the Toremi are weird. They think differently. They're not just a different species. They actually have a different thought pattern. They have this kind of, she describes this enforced consensus that their entire culture lives by.
Borg vibes.
What?
I said, gave me like Borg vibes, not hive mind, but like trying to be everybody just being kind of normal brain, but trying to be drones.
Well, Yes, but I also got, like more real world,
Cult.
culty, politically, like you step out of line, you have to, you gotta, nobody steps out of line. We all, obviously it's exaggerated and science fictionified, but I thought it was an interesting quality to give to an alien species that, like literally they're having this civil war because we can't agree on things. They'll kill someone just because they can't agree on, the right door to walk through, because everybody has to fall in line and be on the same page, or we move to violence.
And then isn't it even like their species is like old enough, but like still at some point something changed in their makeup of like somebody became female, or like a female was born and they didn't know they could have I forget, I don't know if you have a note about this, but it's like, they had a female, and then half of the culture was like, that's evil and we should enslave them and kill them, and that's bad. And half the culture was like elevating the females. They're more godlike and we revere them. And she points out that that's the side of the culture that is part of the GC now, but she's still like, it doesn't make sense that any of the Toremi would be allowed into the GC because they're so volatile in the way that they are.
Yeah, that tidbit you brought up comes a little bit later when I think it's Rosemary reads that email that like lists the 4 things about the Toremi that she should be aware of.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But yes, interesting. I thought an interesting description of the Toremi and creating, I think, some interesting tension about where we're headed, because we're headed into that space. We'll see how that plays out. So we move to Kizzy's POV, who's going to go and fix the Erluan's ship. So she enters the ship. It's beautiful. It's quiet. I thought that was really interesting because they don't use vocal communication. It's all visual communication. So there's literally no need for them to use sound to even ambient sound to express any status of the ship or any of that stuff, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I also I really just like that. They are a little undercover, like a cargo squad, but that is distinctly military. And so the inside of their ship being like incredibly different and what feels like high tech compared to the Wayfarer, which is also like a spacefaring vessel doing a crazy thing of like punching holes through space time kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see the 2 different sides of like the valuable tech to each of the ships.
Totally. So she's going to fix the ship. She needs snacks to do so, which I like. Then we get a shift over into Rosemary's POV. She's hanging out with Syzyx, and Syzyx tells her about the time that her species met the Eluans, in back in history. And she tells the story of the Battle of Tikrit, which sounded brutal and terrifying. So these species that are now sort of in this Galactic Federation, or the Galactic Commons, I guess is what it's called, have not always treated each other nicely. So we've moved through a lot of that violence and awful stuff. I don't know if you had any thoughts about the Battle of Tikrit.
I had no particular thoughts on the Battle of Tikrit.
Okay. So Corbin then comes in and is like, brusque as Corbin is, and asks where, asks Jinx and Kizzy to fix something. And they're like, they're on the other ship. They're busy. Chill, Corbin.
Yeah, they're all in like the fishbowl, like having sort of this decompression. The thing that they have basically, dates of standard days in time at the beginning of every chapter that my brain, similar to names, is like, yep, I recognize what those numbers imply, but I never check to see how long it is. There's things within these chapters that imply that they've been like on their journey for quite some time.
Yeah.
So
it's supposed to be like almost a year at this point, I think.
Well, I thought it was like a standard just to get all the way out there. So they're They're somewhere through some months of the year. So it has been
Yeah.
months of time. So the idea that you have new faces to interact with, and even in this time where it's like, oh, we're helping somebody else out. It's like this bustling excitement. And the fact that Corbin is like, I'd like some business as usual. And they're like, shut up, Corbin. It's like a nice detail of like, he couldn't care less about this. He loved that algae, baby.
He's single-minded dude. And they joke, well, maybe we should report him as a spy, get him thrown off they're kind of, razzing him in their own way, which is an interesting, knowing what we know to come is very interesting, I thought. So we back to Kizzy, who's on the Alowan ship. She's fixing stuff. She crawls into the wall to get back behind a thing, to fix another thing, to do a thing. What does she find?
Ooh.
They're blinking lights of these weird things, and it turns out they're mines. They're dangerous, explosive devices that have been stuck in the wall. Bum, bum, bum. What's she going to do? Well, she's going to disarm all of them.
Yeah. Well, it is really well said. So the ship was damaged because they had some explosive. And then I think it's revealed that they like had hit a mine or something like that. And they're like, oh, that's crazy. I thought you said that it was like some normal damage, like Pay and Ashby both being like, you're kind of concealing how much danger you're in from me, and I don't like that about what you're doing. So there's like a little bit of that relationship tension. And then when Kizzy finds all these mines, it's also that like they had one mine explode that was a teeny tiny mine, but these ones are bigger. They have a bigger payload of like a really volatile substance. Whoever set them up did it quickly and poorly. So Kizzy actually understands that how they're set up and can diffuse them, but they, through the act of doing it, they register that this was an intentional, obviously intentional sabotage, but intentionally teed up this way to try and blow up a bigger spaceport. So if they took damage, the strategy that they would expect is that they have to go somewhere and park it and get the repairs that they need. But because they happen to run into Ashby's ship, it's they're sort of subverting the expectations of the saboteur.
Yeah, I think it's a cool plan. Is like, we'll hurt you a little bit so that you have to dock at the place we really want to attack. Yeah. And you'll be our Trojan horse for carrying the explosives to the place we really want to blow up. But we hurt you, so we know that you have to go and stop at the port to get the repairs. And then that's when everything really blows up.
It's like timed for that. So they like are hoping that would be what they would do. And so this secondary wave of mines that she describes as like a giant mine is like the size of her thumb. So they're like tiny, because Kizzy's human, right? Yeah. So their mines are tiny, and those are the giant payload ones. And there's like, I don't know how many they say. 46 mines in the wall. So it would have been big boom. Yes.
So she reports to Pay. We're in Ashby's POV, and Pay is pissed about the mines. They figure out the plot here, the plan to blow up the cargo ship, and they're like, well, maybe we should just scuttle the ship, just get off of this thing because it's literally a time bomb. And they go, oh no, we have important cargo. We're not going to do that. We're not going to scuttle it. To which I thought, ooh, but then I mean, maybe it'll come back. But it certainly is not followed up on.
Did you have any kind of inkling of what the cargo would be? I thought people.
Oh, interesting. No, I did not think of that. People would be interesting. I just thought, oh, here's where we're headed, and it doesn't seem to be where we're headed.
Yeah, because if the cargo is important and it was like a movable little thing, you could just bring the boxes on. But I think it'd be harder to be like, here's our cargo. It's these refugees.
Yeah. Well, there's all this secrecy about Pay and what she's up to. And maybe she comes back at the end of this or in a subsequent novel, but it did seem to be setting up something
bigger.
Bigger. That's
but
right.
We haven't seen anything about it yet.
Right. So then we have this Kizzy and Pay scene, which I thought was lovely, where Kizzy's sort of just asking Pay about her PTSD symptoms. She's like, hey, you're a badass. You're a pistol holstered awesome commando going out into the depths of space and fighting battles and shooting laser pistols and being awesome. Do you get scared? And she's like, oh yeah, all the time I get scared. I'm constantly scared. Just don't you don't expect to not be scared. So they had this kind of lovely bonding moment, kind of healing moment for Kizzy, it seems. Getting some comfort with her symptoms.
It feels like every other scene, at least once, if not twice or 3 times a chapter, big, meaty topic that could be something that is a quarter of another book, just dealing with the issue. But we sort of teed up of like, wow, that's interesting and huge and serious. Yeah. And then there's always somebody who's like equipped to perfectly deal with and diffuse the situation, quite literally in the physical of, we got Mines and then we got Kizzy there to literally diffuse the situation. And then it's like, here is a deep and big and serious thing I'm dealing with. And somebody being able to say, yes, here is a solution for how to manage that.
Yeah. It makes the book feel very episodic to me.
Yes.
In that there's these little, we're dipping into these big moments, as you said, that could feel like the whole trajectory of a novel. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, just in this moment, and we're going to deal with it, and then we're going to move on. We're going to get the next one. And it's sort of these compartmentalized episodes of life aboard the ship and, little hiccups here and there, but nothing feels like the big overarching crisis.
Yeah. I'm wondering if at the end of this book, I was sort of describing it last night as like, you ever see somebody do like stitching where they kind of make a loop and they make a loop and they make a loop. And then they, at the very end, sort of bring the needle back through and pull everything tight. So satisfying to see all the threads come together and pull the fabric. Yeah. The perfect seam. It feels like that is something couldn't not happen in this book, and it could just be little episodes, but I could see that being a really satisfying way to literally thread the needle and bring it all, like have something that makes all these points touch. Yeah. Which right now is just the proximity on the Wayfarer.
Yeah. So we move over to, Kizzy and Pei have their little bonding moment. And then we move over to Jenks' POV. He's sorting, he comes in and he's going to help Ashby, who's also similarly stressed out about his girlfriend, Pei. Pei and Kizzy are off on the ship that could explode at any moment, trying to deal with that. Mm-hmm. They have moved their ship farther away so that if it does explode, the Wayfarer doesn't get affected by that explosion. And so Jenks is stressed about Kizzy, his best friend. And Ashby is stressed about Pei, his girlfriend. So Jenks comes in and is like, hey, you know what you're going to do with me? Busy work. We're going to take our mind off it by sorting bolts.
It's another scene that I'm like, I'm going to stop saying this as a refrain, but like, it's a difficult thing they're dealing with.
Yeah.
I feel like this book is like, do you want to see people do hard things and have hard conversations, but ultimately find success in each one of those things? Yeah. Not in a way that it comes easy, but they like just do the hard thing and get through it. Is what this book is about. And this scene of Jenks coming in and being like, this is the way. You can't just stare out the window. You're going to go crazy. It's going to be way worse. So we're going to do this thing. I'm like, that is the right thing to do. It just feels like the good, right thing to do in that situation. And it was a great moment. And I just love that they can't openly talk about Ashby's relationship with Pei. Yeah. And so Jenks being like, that is my best friend, the person that I love more than basically anything else in this galaxy. And I just feel like this is the thing that I have to do because I can do nothing else. It's the only thing I have agency over. And I just thought anybody else who might ever feel like that should do this with me.
Yeah. So here I am in your room.
Yes. Yeah. It's great. It's great.
It's lovely. Yeah. It's decent, well-adjusted people showing kindness, processing their emotions in a healthy way. Like, it's just, you don't read stories like this very often. Yeah. So, we have this big meal that Dr. Chef makes because guess what? Kizzy did it. She disarmed all 46 things. Everything's fine.
Woo!
We did it. We got through it. And they have a celebratory dinner. And the Pei and her crew are going to be on their way. See you next time. Glad we could help. Off to the next thing. And we end the chapter with that thing we talked about before. This is Rosemary's, an email response to Rosemary about sort of inquiries about the Teremi. And we learn 4 things in this, numbered things in this response. First, they are obsessed with patterns. They are a pattern obsessed. And so much so that, when they see that the galaxy is spinning, they too have to constantly be spinning in motion like that. I thought that was kind of a neat tidbit as well.
Yeah.
The second thing is what you referenced earlier. They at a certain point branched into a new evolutionary path, but they had massive disagreement on how to deal with that. And so they had what they call a Yegsi, 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 which is only happens like once a millennium, where it's a change in the pattern where they literally have to leave space and land. Everybody has to just give me a second to figure this out. Just hang on a second. Things are changing. So
everybody get to the conference.
That's right.
We need to have a few round tables about this.
Let's get on the same page about this. And then the fourth thing is this planet they're headed toward, the Hedra. That is, it's not even really like a main planet. It was just sort of like this place. So
a place that they've determined through their patterns is important to them in the fabric of the galaxy.
Yeah. But it wasn't like a core planet. They literally terraformed it themselves.
Yes.
So, interesting. All right. Next chapter is called Hatch, Feather, House. We are in Rosemary's POV, and she sees Syzyx flying manually, which is out of the norm, and she asks about it. And Syzyx says, "Well, when you fly home, this is the tradition, is that you are manually on the controls because I'm flying home." So they're taking a pit stop at the Syzyx's home planet, and we have this very funny thing of it felt to me like the author going like, I don't want to deal with all the characters right now. We get a concert. Kizzy and Jinx find out that there's a sick concert happening. So they're going to miss dinner.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it. A lot of characters to deal with. I understand. Very funny. So they're going to go. There's going to be this big sort of homecoming. They're taking a pit stop. And we find out about the structure of the, what are they called? What's the name of their species?
Of the Andrisk.
Andrisk, thank you. There's 3 families. Over the course of their life, they have 3 families. They have the Hatch family, which is literally the family they are born into. Mm-hmm. Then you have the Feather family, which is sort of your chosen family that you want to be around, friends and loved ones that you choose in your life. And then you have the House family, which is when you finally decide at a certain point in your life to procreate, to settle down, for lack of a better term.
To raise young.
Yeah. Right. Then you have this third family, the House family. So I thought that was, again, this book is just full of really interesting ideas and sci-fi concepts and cultures. And it feels like everything is so well thought out from that perspective.
And it feels like it's such a nice marriage of these things. And Syzyx has talked about it earlier in the book, but she sort of has a refrain here of being like, it's so strange to me that when humans are still basically children themselves, are expected when they're young and they're vibrant and they have all this energy to have kids and then raise them and be dealing with all of that, where they're still like, their exterior parts are their bones are still kind of soft kind of thing. And this idea that it's like, you like can have a child and send it to somebody who's like ready to just be like chill and raising kids and be like, anyway, see ya, and then live your life while you're vibrant and have like so much you can contribute and do, but you're not expected to like the idea. What is it? She specifically calls out the idea that you haven't even learned anything yet. You don't have the lessons that you would need to be able to instill values in a kid.
Yeah.
Why would you be responsible for doing that now if you haven't even learned the lessons yet? And obviously it doesn't, if humans did that when we were older, if we like wouldn't have enough energy to keep up with children, it's like the way of our bodies are decaying over time.
You don't have to tell me it's happening right now with my children.
But like it is, you're right.
No, it's a great idea though. Yeah, it's a lovely idea. This notion of like, Rosemary's like, wait, you have kids? She's like, oh yeah. She's like, but I've never met them. I laid my egg and then I left. And the people who are in the time of life where they want to nurture children, they raise my kids, and I will do that someday for somebody else's kids, but they're like not my kids, it's
even the language of like, oh, my kids versus somebody else's kids. It's like the children of, that's the very, very, it takes a village.
Yes.
But literally it's just like, it is the village. It is that the house family that raises the children. They're not my kids. When I have a house and I'm raising the children, those will be my children but they don't even have ownership over it. They land on the planet and like immediately there are so many different social things. The air is really actually very fresh and clean, not like for the heightened senses. Sissix immediately is like, I am not following your rules on my planet. And is like, wee, and takes all their clothes off, which is nice. And then we have these, I'll get to the interactions with the adults, but like kids are there being like, who are you? What's your deal? What's and they're curious and they're straightforward in a particular way, like very blunt, I guess, like kids can be. Yeah. But even then there's like a difference in how they would be. They're not like hiding behind the adults. The adults are like, you're kids, go away, go be kids somewhere. Like there's clearly like a cultural divide in how they even raise young. It's more like trying to build them to be resilient and independent, but also like not expecting that they get to like have your attention all the time. It's just interesting.
They're great.
A different species distinctively.
Yeah. And the kids also like freaking out that they get to meet aliens, right? To them, they're aliens. And the one kid's like, what are these? Honk, honk. It's like that, you get that whole, that whole moment, which is funny. Mm-hmm. And before that, I wanted to point out there's also another lovely metaphor that I thought was cool, where Sissix says, like, to our, yes, did I have kids? Yes, and to our culture, coupling or having sex is like, it's like a great meal. Mm-hmm. She's like, it's something you look forward to. It's something nice. It's good for you. Everybody likes it. Mm-hmm. There's no downside to, like, it's great. I thought it was really a fun, metaphor for, so anyway, yes, the kids are freaking out.
The kids are freaking out about also because their culture is so comfortable with touching. Like it's not even just like sex specifically is like having a great meal, but everybody would be touching each other all the time, and that's fine. So they're like, the aliens are here. And everybody kind of like holds still. I'm kind of picturing like deer in the headlights, as it were. Yeah. Being like, I want to like, can I touch them? I want to touch and feel how different their flesh is. Oh, they're warm when you touch them. Yeah. It's like, it's cool to see, like, describe the tactile differences between what their bodies are and why would they be curious about touching human bodies.
Lana, I want to be an andrisk so bad. I would be so happy if it was just like, I get to nuzzle. We just get to nuzzle. It doesn't mean anything. I just want to nuzzle. I just want to
just want a little pile of people to hang out with. Me.
Literally described as a cuddle heap. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, has there ever been anything more desirable than a cuddle heap?
I remember every year I would come back from being at university and come home, and my friends back home, we are way more huggy than any of my friends ever have been in the States. And my friend's mom had this huge sectional with like a big footrest. And the only way I would describe it, it was like a cuddle heap. All my friends piled on the couch together, hanging out, whatever it is we're doing. We're physically in a pile of people every time I went home.
That sounds like a dream. That sounds delightful. So the adults, even as Sizzix, arrives, are just so happy to see her. They're just, touching and feeling and just feeling, cuddle heaping hard.
It's all the adults, clearly the older Andros, coming up, jumping on Sizzix, and everybody like, it's so good to see you, like rubbing up. It's described from Rosemary's POV, where she's even like, yo, some of them hands be hands, and she has to be like, this is not a human family. This is not a human family. This is not the same way humans are in any way, shape, or form. And then even in this, Ashby is doing like a great sort of translating certain things for her. They have the talk boxes that doesn't let them talk. It just lets them translate.
Yeah. It's like
which is interesting.
It's like a Google Translate pad, basically. Yeah.
But even they have their cuddle heap and they're like, all right, we're going to go have a meal. But people who were in the cuddle heap were like, that was a pretty good cuddle heap. You want to go have a nice meal, if you know what I mean? Like immediately go like 10 feet to the left and they're like, oh, okay. Oh, wait, we're really on the new planet.
Did you ever see that old Saturday Night Live sketch with Dana Carvey? I mean, he's the Italian restaurant waiter. And it's just the Italians are just way too touchy-feely. He's like, bellissimo, bellissimo. And it starts with him just being like stroking her hair, bellissimo. And by the end, he's like licking her face and like putting her. And the guy who's there at the meal with her is like, what's happening? Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of. Bellissimo, bellissimo. So then we get this other character, Ithren, who is one of the elders, who tells this story of seeing a human cry for being the moment that the humans got sort of welcomed into the Galactic Commons. It comes over the, I don't know, TV or whatever, the news, and he sees this human weep, and it's very strange to see liquid come out of his eyes. I don't know. Again, looking at humans from the alien perspective, I think is always interesting and fun.
So they go inside. It's Ashby and Rosemary and Sizzix hanging out. Everybody else is like on the ship elsewhere. It's fine. This is like the core crew hanging out. Yeah. The way that this story is told is really like, I haven't spent that much time with humans, but I remember being there when this announcement happened. There was a guy who I'd talked with a lot before that. I think he's like a bartender. He worked at a restaurant or something that he like went to all the time and always saw this guy. And I think as you're reading that, there's some amount of being like, yeah, the human is like the restaurant owner and people like strangers are coming in. But I felt like it wasn't necessarily a big turn, but it being like I saw that guy when I walked in being welcomed to the Galactic Commons. Then all the story that's implied behind that is all of these other species already had the Galactic Commons. They had formed it. I think the assumption with the GC was like, that's a human venture that would establish that. That's the Starfleet that would be trying to make all of these different species get together and be a bigger thing. But it's actually all of the other species being like, this is a bigger thing that we are happy with. And you humans, you got to shape up before you could join something like this because you're violent and you're separate and you are not the way that you behave is not beneficial to a greater collective. And so seeing that turn and what that means, what that implies about human society having gone into space and having had to reach a certain standard that other species, other races of people that have already gone through this and become better than that have seen humans and said, okay, you've made the cut.
Yeah.
And the value of like a human of even reading that being like, oh, that means they've done something. And the human in the story is described as saying that means I always felt like we mattered, but it's good to hear. It's good to feel like we matter to something.
The
else.
Rest of the galaxy. Yeah.
The rest of the galaxy. I'm like, that is a very human thing. It implies a big struggle that we don't get to see. But I thought it was a really nice sort of vignette that explains sort of more of the galactic
hierarchy. Yeah, totally. Loved it. Well said. We also get their perception that humans eat a lot. So like they make extra food because they're like, humans, man, they eat a lot. I don't know.
I thought they have no idea how much they eat. So they made enough for like 10 people, and it's like them nibbling and just like drinking wine and having a nice day in a little cuddle puddle. Come on.
Cuddle puddle. My next little note to myself here is cuddle heap turns hardcore. Which, happens. So Rosemary is eating and drinking and just having a delightful night. Drank a little too much, maybe ate a little too much, maybe. She, Ashby brings her a blanket, because he's the best boss that ever bossed.
Mm.
And she pulls up Sizzix's file and is trying to figure out, who is her? What just happened?
Hello?
Did we lose?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Well, before she pulls up the file, she's sort of been observing Sizzix all day.
Yeah.
And the thing,
we find out why later.
We find out a little bit more why later. There's been like little hints of it.
Yeah, totally.
But the thing that has really struck Rosemary is she's like, this is what her expectation is for normalcy, is this much physical intimacy, not emotional intimacy, but this level of closeness. The Wayfarer must be hell.
Yeah.
She's
like, this is what a feather family does. Like, does she even have one?
Yeah. And she deserves one. It's like, she's of the age, like the more she learns about the culture, she's like in the space of her life where she needs to have a feather family. And Ashby's like, she does, girl. And she's like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? Yeah. And so he's like, you should go check the files, which I'm like, part of me was like, that's weirder to me to encourage someone to check their files.
That's right.
You want me to go sleuth on them?
Yeah.
You want me to what? Go scope their gram rather than you just giving me the details as a friend and my boss about our colleague?
I could tell you, but it would be much better if you just lurked in their mentions in a weird way, or like you did some creepy sleuthing. Yeah.
I mean, it's so that we could see if that Rosemary's like, taking this big sort of leap and like getting into this space. I get it, but it is, it did strike me as very odd of being like, oh, you can get that information if you want it. If you know where to look, you can find anything.
True. And she does. She pulls up the Sizzix file and she does a little bit of sleuthing and finds out that her feather family is, you guessed it, the Wayfarer family.
And I think the implication is like her family name. Like she like goes and like looks up different permutations of her name to try and get a definition or other family members or whatever it is. And her name means ranger, adventurer, wayfarer.
Yeah.
And so I think the implication is, this is maybe Ashby's the captain, but they've at least co-named this ship, or Ashby happened to name it that. And she's like,
I think she became her family. She adopted that as her family name because this is her family.
Oh, she adopted it as her family name.
That's what I took it at is that she literally when you add someone to your family, you take their name, and she has taken the name of the ship as her family name.
Yeah. Okay.
So Rosemary decides she'll show up at as you said, she's like, well, she deserves a little more touchy-feely from her family, and if I'm in her family, let's see how that works out. So she brings some glasses of wine to Sizzix's room, and we switch over to Sizzix's POV, and it's kind of a cute, like, takes you way longer to figure out what's going on here than it should, but in a cute way, in a very like, she's hitting on me. And then
she did something to her hair. She wore different clothes, but like I just registered that they're clothes, not like different clothes.
Yeah,
it's interesting because it kind of it's like the trope, for lack of a better way of describing it, of being like the dense dude who's like, girl likes me. It's like but it's because of like the species differences and not just somebody being like self-deprecating, which are like insecure or whatever it is. Somebody would never like me. it's not because of like that level of psychological or emotional down talking. It's like, my species doesn't recognize what your clothes are.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, I recall that humans put a lot of effort into the clothes when they want to look nice. Yeah, it's like that.
I recognize that you have changed the shape of your hair.
That's right.
And I also just love that it's like, she smells like something. I don't know what it is. Perfume, that must be part of it. And she's like, oh wait, no, that's not. That's like a natural perfume.
It's a
Girl,
hormone.
and I've been smelling it for a minute.
And then, of course, they have the most decent, well-adjusted negotiation of
physicality.
Like, it is so like sensitive and and honest, forthright. It's like this book is almost like a handbook of like how to treat people decently.
How to navigate. I mean, I feel like if people could just talk frankly like this, I'm like, would dating apps exist? If it's like, hey, just so you know, this is what I'm looking for. This is what it means. I don't want anything deeper. I can't provide for you emotionally. If you think that you are going to feel more things emotionally for me when this is a purely physical thing. No, physical is good with me. I'm looking for a physical thing. I'd like to explore your body. Okay. And it's like, it really is like very official. It's like, well, what does this mean in this way? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
coupling and
I don't want to hurt or offend you in any way. Oh, no. But please, I don't want to hurt or offend you in any way. It's very, it's so just so decent and thoughtful and considerate.
Before we've even touched a hand or anything, how would we treat? Should we tell people? Not yet. That's fine. But if we do eventually, that's also fine. But we'll talk about that in the future. All right, let's bang. It's like
I also felt like, is this just how relationships work when there's no men involved? Is this literally every lesbian relationship is just like, I'm going to treat you decently.
Yeah, probably. Feels like, real.
It does. It does really feel like that tracks.
We're just considerate and communicative.
Remove men from the situation and look what we can achieve.
Utopia.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, they get it on. Get it on. So there's a new wrinkle into the Rosemary Sizik relationship. That's how the chapter ends. We are in the final chapter for this week is called October 25th. We start with Ashby and Jenks overhearing an argument between Sizik and Corbin. They are always at each other's throats, those two. Will they stop? Ashby, of course, comes in fuming and then treats them decently, kindly, with the most considerate, best boss way of, look, hey, be nice. Don't use bad words. You also be nice. Both of you get along. Let's do this the right way.
I will say it does because it's hard not to draw like parallels between things. I'm like, I get that he's like good with the algae, bro, but I'm like, he's like fully specious against somebody on your ship in a way that feels so bad. Yeah. I'm like, is that like deserving of being like, everybody, both of you need to chill? I'm like, one of those people need to right themselves or get out the airlock.
Yeah. So as they're sort of in the middle of this argument, they hear Lovey comes on and tells them that someone has arrived. Another ship is here. And it turns out it's space TSA.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing about it, that this is like Ashby, when he's like talking everybody down, he's like, I know it's been such a long journey so far. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess they've been traveling. Like, I have not registered how much time has passed. It's just I'm ambiently aware of it. Yeah. So interesting sort of reminder that they are like on this long haul, and they're in it. There wasn't necessarily like a starting gun to say that they're mid journey, but they are. And part of that was going through, I forget the name of this new species but they've entered into their space. The Quellen off camera somewhere. When they entered into space, they already got their missions. They already got some kind of search. They've been scanned. And the Quellen has now come up and be like, at any time when somebody's in our space, we can come search you again. And so we shall. And if you resist, we'll put you all in jail. So they're like, that's right. Whatever. Cool.
Random search. They're going to even do a blood search. Because, and again, very funny, I thought, because there's that one guy that put the bombs in his blood. And it's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I see what we're doing. I see the parallel we're making.
Yeah. All right. Search it up.
We have to take off our shoes, or used to.
Yeah.
So basically Space TSA, who they come in, and then shockingly, Space TSA not just wanting to do blood searches and random cavity searches, but they want to arrest Corbin. By the way, these Quellen are described as lobster centaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought that was a cool idea.
I've been playing a lot of Hades too still. And there's an enemy in the Oceanus that I have also internally been describing as a lobster centaur. And so I feel like I have a really good mental image. But it's also interesting, the Quellen, we'll get to it in a sec. They're probably the least decent people that we've seen. But even as they're boarding the ship and they're testing everybody's blood, they're like, everybody stand up. And then Ohan is struggling to stand up and they're like, what's his deal?
Yeah.
They're like, he's old and ill. And they're like, okay, he can sit. And they're like,
all right, yeah, hey, no, and that's my bad. Let him sit.
But then they say something rude to the rest of them or something right after that. And they're like, okay, they're not that nice. But even the fact that they're not that nice, they still let the guy sit.
Exactly. Still, there's nobody that's not 100% indecent.
I'm so fascinated. I will say just the idea of Ohan and their form as they were described and how they kind of fold up, but they have they're sort of lost in being able to see all the ambi and everything happening in space. It doesn't matter if they're in the scene, not at all. Them being just present and being and Ohan was also there wrapped in a little blanket. I'm like, I love him. He's like, I don't know what it is about that character. I just adore them. I keep saying him. I adore them so much. I don't know. The way that they're described and as they've been present sits in my brain in such a way that just say their name and I feel very happy. And I don't know what it is, but
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, they do arrest Corbin, take him away. And Ashby's like, what did he do? And the response is, he exists.
Whoa.
Which I thought was pretty cool. Pretty cool cliffhanger-y moment there.
Yeah. This seems like big, juicy drama.
This, here we are. This is it. Certainly, this will not be resolved quickly. It's like the Penny and Doman all over again. This is it. Next 10 books, Penny and Doman. Nope.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe we're the problem, Lana.
Yeah.
Maybe it's our dumb expectations that are the problem.
Why do I have any expectations? I gotta float along. So
anyway, we pop over to Corbin's POV. He is in the gulag, baby. He's in a pit. Being mistreated.
Not yet. He gets there and because it's in his POV immediately, Becky Chambers, I think, does a great job. And even when you're in his POV, you're like, yeah, this guy sucks. He's like, look at all these people, their legs. I hate their legs and I hate the sound of the way they move. He's just hates other species. And you're like, that's bad, dude. Don't be that way.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay. But he's like, and it stinks in here. They want to shove me in a pit. And he's basically like, I know my rights. And they're like, how's this for rights? And grab him in their lobster body, hold him in a cage of all their legs. And then they have a big shiny hammerhead, not hammerhead, but that dinosaur that's got a big skull.
Yeah.
For ramming, and then they hit ramming speed, crack his ribs, break his nose, and they're like, how's that for your rights? And throw him in a pit. And it's like, that's bad. That's brutal.
It's almost comically effortful the way they beat him up. It's not like we're gonna punch you. It's like, all right, I'm gonna walk to the other side of the room. You hold him.
Yeah, that's a lot of effort to ram someone with your head and then backing up. They do it 3 or 4 times.
Here we go. It's coming again. You better be ready. But yes, brutalizing him. And I love how we are held in suspense as to why they're even mad at this guy. We know why we don't like him, right? But why would these people not like, or these creatures not like him? But we get this wonderful reveal at the end as he's getting beat up, as he's getting rammed by these lobster centaurs. One of them says, "From now on, clone, you will be quiet." Clone! Bum, bum, bum. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was a neat reveal. Did not see that coming at all.
At all.
Felt fun. Felt exciting.
Yeah. There's I don't even think there's seeds of the fact that, I mean, we know that, you can get a body kit. You can do these gene tweaks. There's lots of things that you could do that imply crazy things genetically. But I don't remember any little clone seeds. So it really was oh, dang, that's crazy.
Well, you bring up an interesting point that I was going to make, which is, we have this moment where the space enforcers get on the ship and we're going to search everything. And we find out, even we're about here where, Kizzy has space weed, she's got what they call smash. And they're she's like, I got a bag, you got a bag of smash. She's like, oh, you throw it in the, incinerator. Oh, but you can't get smash out here. Shut up. They're going to search everything. This is not like when they just scanned us. They're really going to search every orifice, get rid of it.
Yeah.
I don't understand why we didn't at least have a moment of Jenks going
sweating.
Oh, yeah. We don't get any moment where he's freaking out at all.
Because that's what I assumed was going to be the case. I guess we find out later that, all he's had is an email back and forth, basically.
Right.
But we did. The last time he talked to Lovey, they were like, we're going to do it.
That's right.
And so I agree. It feels like a missed opportunity of just a little
tension, and then you swerve it into the clone stuff. That's fun, but at least make us think that Jenks is sweating, as you said, because he should be sweating. He should be freaking out that the cops are here and he's doing something illegal. He's been thinking about doing something illegal.
Yeah, hugely illegal. Galactically, everybody agrees you shouldn't do that. Mm-hmm.
I think the swerve into the clones is fun. I just think it was a missed opportunity to make me certain I knew what it was about.
Yes, I agree.
Anyway, so back on the ship, Ashby, because he's just a fantastic boss, circles the wagons. Everybody, we agree that even though we hate this dude, and even though he's an abomination to everything that everyone believes in, he's our abomination.
And we really got to get this algae good.
We're all cool. Yeah. We're all cool. We're gonna do it, and how are we gonna figure this out? Well, it turns out Rosemary has a plan. I
guess as soon as Corbin got taken, Rosemary started looking up everything that she possibly could. Right. And we know she's not a well-traveled, but a well-studied thing.
Yeah, we find out that the Quellans think that clones are pure evil. They are strident in their not allowing them to exist. But there is a loophole in galactic law where if you can claim a buddy, a galactic buddy,
dependent,
who is a citizen of the GC, but belongs to a species that has no clone laws. Who could that be? What? Turns out Syzyx is that person. Oh, but there's gonna be all this animosity and antipathy that she has for Corbin.
I need a minute to think about it.
How could she possibly be the person that? Okay, she agrees to it. She's fine.
Yeah, because they're so decent. She's like, well, of course I have to do that. Why wouldn't I?
I actually love that. I'm being snarky in that everything sort of gets diffused in this book, but I do love that there's no question for her. She's like, I am going to do the decent thing. I'm not gonna like it, but don't even question that I will do the right thing. And I just think that's it is kind of neat how consistent everybody is in this book, that they are good people.
I do like that because it is sort of an extrapolation of the future. I do think that it almost feels more fantastical when I read a book and characters have flaws that they are so stuck to that they make choices that it's come on, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. a psychopath, a total sociopath, which, you could write a total sociopath, but like everybody to some degree will be some kind of level of sociopathy in a book that way. So the fact that people are like, I'm incredibly annoyed by this, but I'll do it, actually feels very realistic and very human. Yeah. And I guess it's just because the story is not a tale of the most bombastic things you can imagine. It's just people in a little culture, a microcosm of society, just trying to get to the next thing and do what is the right thing.
Yeah.
And that is very grounded, and it is not a spectacle, but it feels real and meaty, but it's so unique, the feeling of reading this book.
I think the reason that some have called it, and I have embraced the calling of this novel, cozy, it really does feel comforting to have people do the right thing and want to do the right thing and be decent to each other. Like, as much as it diffuses conflict, there's somehow it's still very readable and very interesting to me, because the manner in which they are decent to each other is full of interesting detail. And I think that is where this book succeeds for me so much, is the specificity of how it all comes out is fascinating, even if I'm not sort of being held in suspense for very long in any one of these moments. And it feels like, would we lose that comfort if we were held in suspense longer? Because you could have, drawn this out. You could have made her have a real moral conflict here. You could have had, that setup that we talked about earlier in this episode about, we should report him as a spy, like.
She's literally talked about sending him into the void. She's talked about spacing him several times. She's
literally gotten what she fantasized about.
Yeah.
And you could have made more of that dilemma of like, I guess I really didn't wish this for him. I guess I was only ever talking in hyperbole, but the coming to that realization could have been harder, right? It isn't hard. Sizek just knows the right thing to do. And I know it works for me. It kind of works because, like, yes, of course she does. Like, if I'm in that situation and I'm like, this is the person I hate most in the world. Well, you're the one person that could prevent them from being in a gulag for the rest of your life. Well, of course I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I think that there's an honesty to that I think I respect the author being consistent to that,
I think I agree. One of the things that I kind of analyzed last night about myself with this book is it's fascinating because the loops feel very tight, but the pace of it doesn't feel too fast as far as like the book goes. It doesn't feel like we don't have enough details. It doesn't feel like we're rushing through things. It just feels like we get questions and then solutions presented quicker than you'd expect. And it's quicker than I guess that I would expect, because the questions or the problems that are presented are so meaty that my default sensibilities is wanting to explore that and explore the tension and explore the various facets of that and be like, what different ways in which could this go wrong? It's compelling to read about that tension. Yeah. But it is comforting to have people just do the right thing. And the objective from a writer's perspective of those two things are very different things. The objective is comfort. We don't need the exploration of all the ways it could go wrong. But what I find the most entertaining when I'm like reading a book and I'm like, this is crazy, and talking about all these details, is all the dramatic bits that are sort of snipped away.
I agree. Yeah. But it seems clear to me that Chambers really loves these characters. Like she really has affection for them, and that affection permeates, right? It infects me, and I have affection for these characters too. And
despite like how many it feels like, a series of just waves, they do feel full. They feel like full characters and unique characters.
And how this plays out, I think I found to be very moving. It's really a lovely, we have Sizek's having to come and claim Corbin from the prison. He is stripped naked, humiliated, beaten to a pulp. She gets him a towel to cover himself, to reclaim some shred of dignity.
She's like, even though I don't care about this, the fact that he's there trying to cover himself, and even her awareness of like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be the person. This is making it worse for you that I'm the only person that you would not want to see, and to see you like this is just further insult to your physical and psychological injuries that you've been dealt here. Like the recognition that this is the worst case scenario for both of them, but her having that empathy of like, specifically for you, you've already been through hell and I am dragging you further into that while I'm the one taking you out.
Yeah. And we have this just utterly heartbreaking line where he says, I wasn't sure anyone would come for me. Like that awareness that he's kind of been a jerk to everybody, you know,
forever.
Yeah. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then her response is equally moving, which was, she says, well, now I get to crank the temperature as high as I want.
Yeah.
Cute. You know,
Very
these lovely
sweet.
little sweet character moments. And then we have, Corbin's POV. 4 days later, he gets a call from this prison colony called Tartarus, and it's his father.
Daddy.
And we have this sort of, come to Jesus moment with the two of them. The father, of course, remarkably self-aware, well adjusted, even though he's not well adjusted, but like, can speak his truth.
He's as not well adjusted as Corbin, because Corbin is his clone.
Right.
But he has I think the critical difference of like, if his life is, he tells the story about, Corbin's not mother, but the person that in his dad's mind is his mother. He worked at a station, basically the same thing, analyzing data behind a intense wall, so they're totally disinfected, and the woman who would come deliver food for him, even though he was horrible and snapped at her and like has his neuroses and clearly is like more invested in the project than he is in people, she still found that quirky and cute and funny and blah blah blah, all these different things. And eventually he's like, invites her in the space for dinner. They contaminate all of the experiment that they've been working on for a year, and they both get fired. But he's happy with that. They go and make a life together. He like takes whatever crap jobs he can just to like be with this woman. And then something goes awry, and what she says, comes home at some point and says like, I have to quit my job. And he goes, oh no, why? And she's like, 'cause I'm pregnant. And they're like, yay, we're so excited. And then very tragically, she's in an accident, and she has some like volatile ambi and her ship explodes.
Yeah.
And Corbin's dad, he can't get her back. He feels that he will never be loved again. He is so much of a distinct personality that he knows is horrible to people, and this is the only person who would ever love him like that. And so he can't get her back, but he can get the idea of a child back. So he goes and clones himself and makes Corbin naturally in the vat, grew naturally, aged naturally. So as close to a natural person as you can, while definitely being a clone. And just told everybody that he went and like got with some gal quickly, and who knew 9 months later he'd have a kid, which made his wife's family disown him because they felt it was disrespectful for him to go and like sleep around after his wife just died. And it's sort of doing it destroyed his life, but fulfilled his life in a particular way. So we get that, a big sort of dump of backstory of Corbin and how he grew up.
And Corbin realizes that, his dad's perfectionism and exacting nature and sort of strictness growing up was because he literally was a clone of his dad, and he wanted him to correct all the mistakes that he made in his own life.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I did not think it was a coincidence that the isolated place that his father was in, where he went a little crazy, was called Overlook from The Shining. It seems to me a direct reference to that, but maybe I'm over. But it's called Overlook, so it's not. And the father reveals that he never had friends, and Corbin says, well, at least is my birthday or my VAT day the same? And he says yes, and it's October 25th, the name of the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
We end with a little moment between Jenks and Lovey, and they have a heart-to-heart. And Jenks goes, maybe we shouldn't do the whole life kit thing.
I just realized doing illegal things with body parts is like actually might be like bad.
Yeah. What if we get caught the way Corbin got caught? And they talk about all the ramifications of how that would play out. And Lovey reveals, I was only kind of doing this for you anyway, and it's fine. And if you can handle me having a body, then let's maybe not.
Yeah. The big push for Jenks is like, if I ever went to jail, they could dismantle you. And so it's not that he's like, I'm scared of the law. It's that he's realizing that it could mean trying to be together and more together forever could make it so that they don't get to spend their lives together. And so he's making the choice that seems like more guaranteed that they get to enjoy the world the way they want to. The world, the galaxy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they decide not to do the life kit again. Diffuse the tension.
I guess there is like one new seed of like the body is still flying through space. They've already ordered it.
Yeah, they already ordered it.
So it is on the way to some degree.
Yeah.
But he's like, we could break it down for parts. And I'm like, what kind of parts? It's like what is the body made out of? I guess it's a mechanical thing, primarily electrical. But there is like, maybe the body's going to show up, and they're like an illegal body's here. So there's still a potential for something to come of that, but I doubt it.
I doubt it too. We end the chapter with another one of these format changes where we get to see this sort of historical record of when the humans joined the GC, which they sort of joined by luck, not because they had actually arrived at that natural evolutionary place or technological evolution. They did it by luck. And so, a lot of these other species, particularly, I think it's the Quellen who's asking these questions, are wondering like, well, what did humans bring? What do they bring to the equation? What did we get by welcoming them into the GC? And that's kind of how we end, is that question.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm enjoying it. It's
cozy.
Lovely.
Cozy wozy.
Cozy wozy. Do you have any little quotes?
I do. I think I have maybe just two, but one of them I think we might have the same one because it was from that first chapter, The Last War. So if you've got that, I've got something from Hatch Feather House, a really, really short one here.
I don't even know how to. I'll try to stop at a certain point. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Our species are very different from each other. You have 2 hands. I have 6. You sleep in a bed. I sleep in a tub. You like mech. I don't. Many little differences. But there's one big thing that Grum and humans have in common, and that is our capacity for cruelty. Which is not to say we are bad at the core. I think both of our species have good intentions. But when left to our passions, we have it within ourselves to do despicable things. The only reason humans stopped killing each other to the extent that they used to, I think, is because your planet died before you could finish the job. My species was not so lucky. The reason you haven't seen any other Grum is because there are only some 300 of us left. Rosemary's hand went to her mouth. I'm sorry, she said. Such a quintessentially human thing to express sorrow through apology. I'm not, Dr. Sheff said. It was our own doing. Our extinction wasn't caused by a natural disaster or the slow crawl of evolution. We killed ourselves. He thought aloud for a moment, sorting out all the pieces. For generations, my species was at war with itself. I couldn't even tell you why. Oh, there are historians with all sorts of theories and ideas, but it's the same story you hear everywhere. Different beliefs, different cultures, territories everyone wanted. I was born into that war. I'll just stop there. I thought that was good. I mean, I love, again, these like other cultures reflecting on their doing something in parallel to the way humans are, but doing it farther or more or less, or, having these fictional cultures deal with the same problems we have and have done it on a different timeline or with it to a different end.
It's like one step to the left, one step to the right. Yeah.
Yes. Love it. I love that stuff. That's what science fiction does so well. And fantasy as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great section.
Thanks.
The one other little quote that I have is, I love this even with our own languages on Earth of, different languages have words that in English we have like longer definitions that are expressed in a single thought. And we get some of that with the andrisks. And so this was Syssix being seen by Rosemary. Syssix cupped her palm, flipped it, and spread her claws, even though she knew Rosemary would not understand the gesture. Tresha. It was the thankful, humble, vulnerable feeling that came after someone saw a truth in you, something that they had discovered just by watching, something that you did not admit often to yourself. I just love that they've got a word for that feeling. Yeah. Because you feel things as a whole, and language is so clumsy to express that. It's just beautiful.
I have one more little quick quote here from the end of that Dr. Chef discussion with Rosemary, where they're talking about her father and the atrocities that he, his war profiteering and selling these awful weapons that he's now in prison for. Dr. Chef sat back on all four. As you said, he had everything. That made him feel safe and powerful. People can do terrible things when they feel safe and powerful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Seeing that play out in the real world for sure.
Big time. As a very nerdy note, Dr. Chef, they'll have little shorthands. Did this on 2, back on 4.
Yeah.
It's like how animators talk about frames. Every time he says something, he did this on 1, or he had on 1, or did this on 2. I'm like, yeah, on 2s, like animation. It's like sticks to me. I know it's his number of legs that he's up on or not, but it just gets me. Anyway.
Awesome. Well, next week we will finish this novel. And so stick with us. We'll do that. And I'm not sure what we're doing after that. We'll figure it out. Lana and I will talk, but we're having fun. Thanks for being with us. Hope you have a great week and you're able to dance.
When the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality, open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the